So my name's Josh Bailey. I'm a new Vice Chancellor's Illuminate Fellow here at Queen's University Belfast. And I'm based in the School of Chemistry and Chemical Engineering. My research focuses in the sustainability theme in the school, and in particular I look at the implementation of ionic liquids in polymer electrolyte fuel cells. So this is part of the hydrogen economy of the future. How can we use hydrogen in an efficient way, in a safe way, and in a cost-effective way. So I initially chose to join Queen's because of its reputation. It's a fantastic Russell Group university, and in particular it has very strong links with industry. In particular as well, it's one of very few UK institutions with a joint chemistry and chemical engineering department. So when I looked at applying for fellowships, it was right up there at the top of my list, because really what I do is at that interface between chemistry and chemical engineering. So working on fuel cells, electrochemical devices, you really need a fundamental background in chemistry, but you also want to apply that in a chemical engineering background. And again, the partnerships that Queen's has forged with local and international companies, that's going to serve my future career very well as well. Queen's is really the best place for me to have this fellowship. So the Vice Chancellor's Illuminate scheme is fantastic because it provides a range of benefits. So one of those benefits is an enhancement award, which allows me as an early career researcher with limited access to funds to really get going, to start purchasing equipment and chemicals, and also it provides a PhD studentship. So I'm in the process at the moment of recruiting my first PhD student, which is an incredibly important thing for an early career researcher. Find that student who's going to be able to contribute to the research group that I wish to grow here. And one of the other great things about the Illuminate Fellowship Scheme is this pathway to a permanent position. So there's a probation period of 3 years before you can potentially become a lecturer, and 5 years to senior lecturer. And that's a really fantastic opportunity for me as someone who wants to have a career in academia. So the Fellowship Academy has been great. I mean, I'm a new fellow and I've already been able to make the most of a couple of different aspects of the Fellowship Academy. For one, it's been great for networking. So there's fellowship lunches where we'll come together and we can talk across the university, across disciplines, about our time as early career researchers and kind of share tips and tricks. What's also been really useful is receiving some continuous professional development, in particular help with supervising postgraduate students. So as a new academic, as someone who's going to take on a PhD student later this year, it's been incredibly important to kind of think about how to make sure I get the most out of that student and to provide inclusive and hopefully stimulating environment for that student. In the field that I'm in sustainability and in fuel cells, it's very much linked to our agenda for net zero by 2050. So one of the things that I hope to do with my career is to really cement into the School of Chemistry and Chemical Engineering a vision for the future hydrogen economy. What I hope to do is to be part of a future centre, potentially in the school or across the faculty, that really focuses on moving towards net zero using hydrogen, whether that's in fuel cells, which is the focus of my current research, or using electrolyzers, or using other devices, for example, to compress hydrogen. So my hope is to continue an academic career here and to be part of our pathway to net zero. So if someone's thinking about applying for a fellowship at this point, I think one of the pieces of advice I would give is to really consider what is the context of your research. So how does it fit into the big picture? So what's your vision? What do you hope to achieve by that research? How can you communicate that research to the public, also to government via policy, and also to really start engaging with industry early? I think it can be a real bonus to your application if you've already shown that there are industry partners that are interested in the research that you aim to carry out. Applying for fellowships can be time consuming, and I think one of the things that I would recommend as well as someone who's applying for fellowships is to get as much peer mentorship and peer review as possible. In my case, it took me a number of fellowship applications before I managed to secure the Illuminate Fellowship, and certainly that was through the help of my colleagues, my ex-colleagues, and also revisiting some of your old ideas and maybe rethinking them, working on old ideas and editing them. So certainly fellowship applications is an iterative process, and it's also a collective process. So I would really recommend speaking to your colleagues and getting as much feedback as possible as you put together your fellowship application. One piece of advice I received when I was considering writing fellowship applications was to make sure that my idea was very quick and easy to convey. So if you can write your idea on a post-it note and somebody else can really understand what it is you're trying to achieve, that's probably a very useful way that you might be able to pitch it. It's a very useful way you better communicate it to various different stakeholders, but certainly it helps you clarify exactly what it is that you're trying to achieve.